The objective today is the quadratic formula in review for the test tomorrow. And on tomorrow, before you take your test, you'll have the math tournament as well. The problem is negative 3x squared minus 4x plus 11 equals 0. What do I do first? And that goes to Perry.
I write down the formula.
Write down the formula. That's a good first step, and he's right. So we'll do this. We'll ask what the formula is, and that goes to Baldridge. Can you read off the formula?
The formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. Over 2a.
Over 2a, yes, that's right. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So he gets the point. What must I find? Key word is find. What must I find now? Blizzard.
You have to fill in the variables.
Yes, so what is A, B, and C? Tell me those.
A is -3.
Yeah?
B is -4.
Yes?
And then C is 11.
That's right. So she gets that point. Now, what must I do with A, B, and C? That goes to Deerfield. What do I do with A, B, and C, Bailey? Fill in the formula, yeah. So here we go. I have a negative B already in the formula. B is -4. If I put -4 in for B, I have a -4. Plus or minus the square root of the quantity squared of -4, and then minus 4 times A times C over 2 times a -3. What do I do next? What is my next move? And I'm talking about just one little tiny step. Specifically out here. What do I write next? And that goes to Montavon. What do I write next instead of -4? Hammond. That's right, you make it a +4. She gets the point. Now I'm going to put square root of, and what do I write in place of this? That goes to Carver.
Well, you're going to put -16.
It's not -16. What do I write next? Woodrow. What do I write next? Boyd. 16, yes, because the quantity squared of -4 is +16. Next up, what is the sign going to be in the middle? What will the sign be here? Will it be plus or minus? And that will go to Deems. It will not be minus, it should be plus. Can somebody tell me why it would be plus Martin? That's right, because you have 2 negatives. So he gets the point. The 2 negatives come from right here. So double negative makes it positive. What's the number that I'm going to add to 16? That goes to Armstrong. 132 is right. Okay, so on the bottom, 2 times a -3 is a -6. So let's go back here and simplify some more. 4 plus or minus the square root of what? Wilburn. 148 is right. On the bottom you have a -6. Question, yes or no, is 148 a perfect square? Courtney. It is not a perfect square, that's right. How can you tell if a number is a perfect square or not, Blevins D? How can you tell if a number is a perfect square, Garrett? Yeah, put it in your calculator. So she gets a point for that. And if you put it in your calculator, what are you going to do to that number, Spradlin?
You're going to,
You're going to do what to the number, Blevin C? No, you can't hit equals. It'll give you back what you just put in. And this goes to Bradley. What would I do to it? Haskins is not here, so we have to reset the sticks. Remember, the question is, you put 148 in your calculator, but what do you do to it to figure out if it's a perfect square, Spradlin?
find the square root.
Yes, the square root. That's how you figure it out. If it's a decimal, it's not. If it's an integer, it is. So now we have 4 plus the square root of 148 over negative 6, and 4 minus the square root of 148 over negative 6. On the left-hand side, when I do the operation there on that left-hand problem, what is the answer going to be? And this goes to Courtney. The answer should be negative 2.7 when you round to the 10th place, because negative 2.69 would round up to negative 2.7. Okay, what would the answer be on the right-hand side when you work that out? That goes to Martin. It should be 1.4. You have to round to the 10th place. The practice problem is 4x squared minus x minus 6 equals 0. For this problem, you should have a negative 1 plus or minus the square root of the quantity squared of negative 1, and then minus 4 times a negative 6. All of that over 2 times 4. So you'll have a 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 96 over 8. And then you'll have 1 plus or minus the square root of 97 over 8. Do this problem twice. Once with 1 plus the square root of 97 over 8, and once with minus, as in 1 minus square root of 97 over 8. All right, for the solutions, we're going to round to the 10th place. So 1 plus the square root of 97 divided by 8 is 1.4. And then 1 minus the square root of 97 divided by 8 is negative 1.1.